We continue our summer series this morning with God at Play by taking a look at the creativity and wonder that God has given us through dreams and through visions. How many times have you woken up just to ask the question, what was that all about? You come out of a dream and you're like, what was happening there? Or perhaps you describe that dream to someone that's next to you, and in the midst of describing, you realize how complex that dream was. Maybe long-forgotten friends, maybe beloved family members had appeared in your dreams. And they appear in the most unusual places, some places that you visited in the past, and some that you know but have never been to. Dreams are our body's ability to create in a subconscious form. Many dreams are easily forgotten. The details of those dreams fade away almost as quickly as they've come to you. But every now and then a dream will repeat, and you know that that dream has been dreamt before. We wonder why we keep on going back to the same place, do the same thing, and we meet the same people. And I remember as a teenager having a dream that repeated. The dream was that I was on vacation with my family. We were in a station wagon, which we no longer owned. But we were traveling, and we came to this place, and I was told to get out of the station wagon. And there I stood as a 6-foot teenager in footy pajamas, looking around as my family drove away. Kind of strange. But it kept on happening over and over again. And as I got out, I looked around, and there was a fountain. A fountain was there, and the fountain has all kinds of figures that were on the inside. It was unusual. I had never seen it before. Why did I keep on dreaming about this happening? I had forgotten about it until years later. I was in school. I had been studying in the school library, and I was late for class. I ran down the stairs and through the courtyard, and I had seen it hundreds of times. But as I looked, there was the fountain in the middle of the courtyard, the same fountain that had been in my dreams. Fortunately, I was not standing in footy pajamas, but it made me wonder, why did I dream about that, and why is this fountain here? Now, put me on a couch and analyze me, and you'll probably find out I probably had some abandonment issues as a kid. I don't know. It keeps on making me wonder, why? Why did I dream that? As Lisa said, today in the book of Revelation, we are hearing these visions, this fantastic description that's given to John in the island of Patmos. One of my seminary professors, who was an authority on the book of Revelation, started his first lecture of the semester, and he said, the name of the book is the book of Revelation. It is not plural, revelations, but it is a singular. It is the book of Revelation. Now, you all will soon have an opportunity to teach, and when you do, ask your congregations to at least come away with one thing from your sermon. Convey this: it is the book of Revelation. It does not have an S. It's the single revelation of God in Jesus Christ. The author of this book provides us with clues about his identity and the situation that surrounds this book. He refers to himself simply as John, and he describes himself as a brother, inferring that he is a Christian. Historians believe that his style of writing infers that he was a Palestinian Christian who had emigrated to Asia. His writing style also indicates that he is different than the person who wrote the Gospel of John. He doesn't claim to be a personal disciple or an apostle of the historical Jesus. He writes from the island of Patmos, which is located about 60 miles southwest of the mainland Asia, or modern-day Turkey. And it appears that he had traveled there to escape persecution and harassment. And his writings speak of 7 churches, each of which were located on the mainland. The book uses apocalyptic writing, which is often strange to us. Revelation translates that Greek word apocalypsis as both the anglicized English noun apocalypse and the adjective apocalyptic. However, the root of that word refers to an unveiling or a removing of the cover to reveal what has been concealed. Now, it's funny how much the word revelation has packed into it. Try mentioning the book of Revelation when you're getting together with friends, and they'll look at you kind of weird. But we don't think anything of that word when, in Back to the Future, Doc Emmett Brown says, "I had a revelation." It's a revealing. It's that aha moment. For us, the book of Revelation contains imagery and descriptions that seem strange and hard for us to understand. But for the writer and his readers, it was very conventional. It was a traditional way of writing. We have similar things that we do today with our current way of writing. Consider a political cartoon that describes an interaction between a Democrat and a Republican. An artist might depict a specific situation using donkeys and elephants, and they interact in a certain way. To you, as one who looks at that, you can understand what's being said. You understand that political cartoon. Send that to someone overseas or put it in a vault for 2,000 years and show it to someone, and it's going to look strange. It's going to look odd. Another example, I remember as a kid, a newscaster was talking about a bull market that was in Chicago. My eyes were wide. I was like, how cool is that? And then later on, a few weeks later, they talked about a bear market. That's even better. And I just imagine going downtown Chicago and seeing bulls and bears being sold between people. It's imagery that's used to convey a different meaning. In the book, we hear about lampstands. There aren't physical lampstands, monsters, or horsemen. Rather, these are describing a larger meaning. They convey a vision that's been provided by God, that's received and it's understood by the people who hear it. Throughout the book, the writer uses that figure of speech known as simile to describe the vision that's been given to him. Simile uses the words like or as to provide a fuller understanding of what the author is trying to convey. Those phrases aren't meant to be taken literally, but rather they provide us with an expanded imagery. For example, if someone says, "You're as clever as a fox," they don't mean that you're some small animal that burrows into the ground. They mean that you're smart. If someone says, "You're as smart as a whip," that doesn't mean that you are some braided piece of leather. It means that you are intelligent or that you really connect well. So when we hear someone say, "You're as clever as a fox," or "You're as smart as a whip," those are similes, and we automatically think they must be pretty smart. The writer in the book of Revelation uses this pattern. He says, "Among the lampstands was someone like a son of man, dressed in a robe reaching down to his feet, with a golden sash around his chest. His head and hair were like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were like blazing fire." We don't assume that his head and hair were actually wool, as white as snow, nor his eyes actually fire, but they were like wool. They were like fire. And this figure was like a human, but one who exhibited all these fantastic traits. And the writer, realizing this, falls at his feet. And Jesus the Christ, the one who was like a human, Jesus the Christ reaches out his hand and he says, "Do not be afraid. I am the first and the last. I am the living one. I was dead, and behold, I am alive forever and ever, and I hold the keys of death and Hades." The human writer uses descriptive language to describe his experience in the vision, while Christ uses definitive statements and defines his reality. Christ says, "I am the first and the last, and the living one." Jesus then tells the writer to write down what he is seeing, what is, and what is to take place after this. When we emerge from dreams, details that seemed so vivid just a second ago fade quickly. The dream of being chased by a neighborhood dog might seem real for a millisecond after you wake up. But once you're awake, the shape of the dog's face, the texture of the collar, the length of the grass, the smell that you had within that dream start to fade. There are some dreams, though, that stick with us for a long time, and some that are gone before we know it. Some people have a difficult time remembering their dreams, any kind of dream. Others dream constantly, and those dreams are always with them. We can also dream when we're wide awake. We dream of the future, an uplifting future. We dream of peace and reconciliation. We dream of what God has in store for us. Dreams allow us to go beyond ourselves and enter into the divine imagination. I think dreams and visions are kind of like close cousins. Dreams come to us mostly in our sleep, that state of subconsciousness where fantasy and reality like to come together. Dreams have been analyzed and interpreted in so many ways, but visions have an intentionality behind them. Individuals who have visions have been removed from the stimulus of life. They have been moved to a different place in the desert, or they're fasting, or perhaps on the island of Patmos. Visions convey meaning and interpret our understanding of the world now, in the past, and possibly as we move into the future. Visions are a way in which the world might be. This John of Patmos has a vision. It's a revelation, an unveiling of what was once concealed. The vision of God in Jesus Christ. God gifts us with this amazing creativity, a creativity that we witness both while awake as well as in our subconscious dreaming. This creativity offers wonder and mystery, and it helps us to determine, what is this all about? Dreams sometimes bring comfort, as we imagine being with others from our past and re-experiencing those times together. But dreams can also be disturbing, making us wonder about recent events, the pressures of life, or perhaps what we ate for dinner. Dreams can cause us to question recent conversations that we had, help us sort out different situations, and sometimes they can encourage us to be bold as we step out in faith. God's creativity is happening within us. God is not playing with us. Rather, God is at play within us, offering each one of us encouragement and peace and hope. Imagine the vision of Christ before you, a vision of wonder and of mystery, a vision of the one who reaches out to you, who holds you tight and speaks those words of reassurance. Do not be afraid. I am the first and the last and the living one. Praise be to God. Amen.